Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another time out here. Welcome to a book club. We get to do this every Sunday. We run it at 2 p.m. here. And so this is another day. We missed out last week because I was on the road. I had to go to my farm. So with all the also the bustle of that, I couldn't have this to it. So apologies for those of you who tried logging on. I did put a notice on our Facebook page, Facebook group page, which has this title. So I know Toba did go there and saw that the notice was there. So that's one place I would drop a note if anything changes. So if you Facebook, you can look for it. Book club with Sentaki on Facebook. So I do get to put things there, discussions from here, continuation, associations with the book. I put things there. The schedule for the book also goes drop there. All right. So thanks for being here again. And we're back. We're going to be doing our book. It's our fifth book in the series of our time out here together during the book club. And as Bethenny Frankel, Business is Personal, right? So it's a new book she released recently. And that's what we're digging into and learning. And in the produced version of this, I call it the School of Life. We're discussing life as a whole, even though it's a business book. A Business is Personal, talking about our own business, how she found her way through business and succeeded, right? Business is life. Life is business. So as we talk about business, we're also talking about life as a whole. So I titled it the School of Life, because as we go through this series, we're going to be talking about how to live life successfully as a whole. Right? How to succeed in life, how to become a billionaire in the issues of life. As much as we talk about how to become a billionaire in the marketplace also. So it's all incorporated, right? If you're going to win in the marketplace, you have to win in your personal life. If you win in your personal life, you win in the marketplace. Again, that's the way Stephen Covey's book was divided out, right? The 7 habits of highly effective people. Talked about we need to win the internal inner war before we can win the outside war. Then we'll keep it all going, right? The first 3 habits: winning the internal war, the inner war. The next 3 habits: winning the war outside of yourself. And the 7th one is maintaining the balance, right? And all right, so that's a book. Let me bring up the slides here and we'll shoot. Great. So I have my slides up, right? We have a total of 14 slides to run through here. Well, it's not a slide, it's not a number, it's a discussion, right? And so that's the title of the book, Business is Personal. And she writes us the truth about what it takes to be successful while staying true to yourself, right? Being successful and not losing yourself. It's about having good success, not just having success, but having good success. Success that comes with your being fulfilled, right? Not just having the success and you are sad, but you're having success and you feel fulfilled to have accomplished something that you're fulfilled, not just on the outside, you're fulfilled on the inside of you. You feel like you have truly lived. Right? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about how to just make money suddenly, or how to make money without your life feeling the impact, right? Or you feeling blessed by as a result of it. We're going to go on here to our first slide. And that's the book. I showed you my own copy. If you have your copy, great. If you don't, we'll live with it. If you can get one, that'd be great. The whole idea, if you enjoy the book, then you can get yourself a copy, but just wanting to learn. It's a good book. I love it. So I'm a salesman for it. Get one. Talking about what we're supposed to do today. So the whole title of chapter 3 is Trust the Process, right? Let's trust the process. That's the whole title of chapter 3. It says trust the process. And what is the process? Is like trust life. I used to hear people say that so many times. I know a young lady that loves to say that, trust the process, She says it so often, right? I probably never really got the power of it until as I was reading through this chapter, meditating on it. And I found out that there is so much power behind that word, trust the process, trust the game of life, trust the process of life, trust nature, trust the universe, trust God, trust God's programming of the universe, right? God set up this universe to work for us. We were all designed to succeed. Even after the fall of man, right? Talking from a Christian standpoint. But let's stay on the secular level, right? God designed man to succeed. God designed creation to help man to succeed, not to fail. Yes, things got hard because there was a fall and all of that stuff, but the original creation, which is still very much in operation, was designed for man to succeed. We were programmed to succeed, right? We are the only ones that can deter ourselves from succeeding, right? If we follow the program and do things the way creation was made, we will succeed. We will succeed by default. The default of creation is that we succeed, right? We succeed. Creation was defaulted on our side, not all against us, right? Creation was defaulted on our side. We have to work hard enough not to succeed. And one of the key things we do not to succeed is when we allow fear into our life, right? The way to get the default of life is to walk by faith and love. Faith and love will keep you in the default setting of life. When you bring fear into the picture, fear works against faith and love. When fear is in the picture, fear would distort the original creation. Fear would distort the default of life. Fear will get you off the path that creation wants you to go, right? The default of life is that you succeed. The default of life is that you make it, right? So if you're not making it, it is not the fault of God. It is not the fault of nature. It is not the fault of the universe. It's because you allow fear to get you off the track of success. That's what we mean when we say trust the process. Allow nature to do its work. Allow the universe to do its work. Allow God to do his work. Right. From a Christian standpoint, we look at it from what's that? What's his name? Jeremiah, right? 28:11, right? It says that my thoughts towards you are those of good, right? To give you a hope and an expectation. As much as God was saying that to Israel, that is God's thought concerning every one of his creation. None of his creation was created out of order. He had a purpose, he had an intent when he created us. He created us for success. He created us for good. He created us with a hope and an expectation. It will take a lot of work from you not to succeed. It will take a lot of work from you not to succeed. If you don't succeed, it's not because of God. It's not because of nature. It's not because of the universe. It's because you allowed yourself to get off the path of life. And the thing that gets you off the path of life is fear. Nothing more. Fear. When you allow fear to rule in your life, you will get off the path of life. We were created to live by faith, not fear. Faith and love. Faith and love. Faith and love. When you get off faith and love, you have fear. Fear will get you off the path of life. When you trust the process, you have faith in the process. When your faith in the process will cause love to come out from you. Love will be the spirit that operates inside and outside of your life. That will be what will carry you. But when you don't allow faith in your life and you allow fear, fear will take you out of that part of life. Having said all of that, let's go into the book itself, right? Let's look at that slide. So the first one we say business and life are about the journey, the process of life, right? So remember I will say again from what Rabbi Bethenny Frankel told us, business is life, life is business, right? And the journey of life is a business. So it's a business, it's a journey, it's a process of pilgrimage, right? And when it's up to us to do that business of life well, and doing it well, like I said again, is allowing the default to have its place, right? It is an important idea and big part of the mental effort that it takes to be successful, right? When we trust the process, when we give place to default, right? Trusting the process, which is trusting the journey of life, trusting your pilgrimage, lets you enjoy the journey, the process. Learn and grow from it, right? We are just allow things be. When you trust the process, when you trust the hand of nature, when you trust the universe, when you trust the God of creation, right? It allows you to be able to have rest, enjoy the journey, learn and grow, right? Learn and grow. All right. So I have Kelvin come on here. So I was just trying to see. Kevin will tell me there's a background noise. It's like almost like I'm hearing a background noise, but Kevin is here to confirm that. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm fine, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're welcome. How's your day been?
It's been awesome, sir.
Great, great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. So we're in chapter 3 today. So the title says trust the process. I don't know if you've had time to read your copy of the book or not.
I've not gone through it. I just read the introductory part. See yet to continue.
Good. That's good. So it's okay. So, but we're in chapter 3. That's what we're doing today, and hopefully we'll be able to finish chapter 3 today. And the title says trust the process. Have you ever heard that before? Heard someone talk about trust the process? Have you ever heard someone say that before? Trust the process.
Yes, I have.
So what does that mean to you? When someone says that, when you say that, what does it mean to you?
When somebody says trust the process, it's sends a signal of give yourself time. Don't be in a hurry. Just allow it the organic flow. Don't be too much in a hurry. Just allow it flow as it is. Don't be burdened or worried about things. Just allow it. Trust the process. As long it's a right path one is in, one should not be bothered about. Many times persons are bothered about the pace at which things come. But that when somebody says trust the process, it means as long as the person is in the right path, just allow it flow organically. Don't be too much in a hurry. Don't beat yourself over things that are not coming as it is now. Just allow it flow. It will definitely come.
Great. Exactly what I said before you came. So great. I'm happy to hear that. Just to repeat myself, the default of creation is that we succeed. When God created the whole universe, he created it for man to succeed thereby, not fail. So the design of creation is to make us succeed, not fail. The default of creation is to make us succeed, not fail. Right? We have to do a lot of work. We have to work hard to fail. If you fail, it's because you worked hard to fail. If you just allow things be, allow nature do its work, you will succeed. And the way we allow nature to do its work is by walking in faith. The default of creation is that we succeed, but that is energized by faith, which is the same word: trust, resting, believing, right? Expecting good, right? The thing that gets us off the path of default of creation is fear. God did not create us to walk in fear. God did not create the universe to be operated by fear. So when I walk in fear, I get off the path of creation. I get off the default of creation. I get something different from what creation was set to do. Right? So when I walk in faith, faith also awakens in me love. Faith and love is what moves the creation along the path of its default. So when I say trust the process, is have faith that all things are working together for your good. Both the things you understand, the things you don't understand. Yes, do your own work. Make sure that you have applied all that you know to do and that you are doing your best, right? The default of creation expects you to do your best. If you don't do your best, you are not going to activate the setting of creation. The setting of creation expects you to apply yourself and do your best, right? That means find out the information you need to find out and use it to the best of your ability. Nothing. When you go into the place of anxiety, when you go into the place of being worried, you get yourself off, because anxiety is activated by fear. Worry is activated by fear. When you allow that, it gets you off the default of creation. It gets you off the path of success, right? Because that's not the way God created this world, right? Do you understand everything I've said so far? Does it flow in line with what you've said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks. Let's welcome Toba. Toba is logged in on. Toba, how are you doing? Hey, Toba, you're still all right. When you get your audio right, let's know. Anyways, let's go on while Toba is settling in. All right. So when we talk about trusting the process, right, it's about relaxing to the steps that you are taking to reach your goal, right? You have a goal and you plan it out. Work on it by faith, not out of fear, not out of anxiety, right? Because like everything works together for you. Every little step, all the years before are working for you, right? You are not a product of just today. You are a product of every single experience of life that you have been through. Every one of them was for a reason. Every one of them was to make you something that you need in your today and your tomorrow, right? Nothing is by error. They're all working for you, both the good and the bad, right? They're supposed to build something in you that you need for your today and your tomorrow, right? So when you trust the process, you're able to, that's your mindset. That's your disposition to life, right? Because one thing leads to another, right? We might not know all the things about tomorrow, but we know where we're been to and where we're coming from. And all of that is what's going to take us to where we're going tomorrow, if we rightly use them, right? And so, I mean, we might know where we're coming from and where we want to get to, but we don't necessarily know the in between. The easy example of that is Joseph. Joseph had a vision of where God wanted to take him to, right? Joseph knew that God wanted to exalt him, wanted to make him king. He knew where he was. He was a favorite child of his father. I knew that God had a big plan for him to make him king, such that he'll be raised above his father, his mother, and his brothers. That was a vision God gave to him. What was missing there is God did not tell him how he would get there. Right? Same thing with us. I mean, we all have big plans. I know you want to become a billionaire. You want to be able to take care of your family. You want to be able to be like me and people be more than me. Am I speaking your heart? Kevin?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have big plans, and God is saying amen to all of that. You know where you are, you know where that amen is. What God has not told you, or what you don't fully know, is how you're going to get there, the in-between of life, right? And for whatever reason, He doesn't tell us. So that part we need to then throw into His hands and trust Him as the part that will get us there. Because everything we're going to be through will prepare us and take us to the place we want to get to. Right? It's not going to be in one day. It's not going to be in 2 days. It's not going to be suddenly, because God doesn't do suddenlies. God prepares the man He gives the throne to. He's not just going to give you a throne He has not prepared you for. Right? That's a place where you need to trust the process, rest in the process. That's what Joseph had to do. It wasn't easy for Joseph. Right? The journey wasn't easy for Joseph. And if we read the Bible, we see that the journey wasn't easy for Joseph. He wasn't laughing all along the way. Oh, I enjoy being a slave. Oh, I enjoy being away from my father. No, he didn't. It was painful. But one thing he did in all the pain was that he trusted the process. He rested in the process. How do I know he rested in the process? Because he was diligent all along the way. He was not slack. Even though he was in prison, was a slave, he gave his best. So much so they made him head everywhere he went to. They saw something different in him. He wasn't complaining. Oh, who brought me? My brothers don't like me. It's the end of my life. Oh, sorry me. Oh, everything is upside down. If he was doing that, they were not going to make him the head. He would not have been the head of the slaves in Potiphar's house. He would not have been the head of the prisoners. Right? But because he was giving his best, he was at peace wherever he found himself, even though he was seeking for deliverance. It wasn't as if he stopped seeking for deliverance. But first of all, he was content in today, trusting God for today, while he was looking out for tomorrow. Right? First of all, we saw he was content because of the leadership roles they gave him. We knew also that he was looking how to go back or to be delivered, because we saw that after he interpreted the dream to the to those two servants of Pharaoh, he told them that they should remember him. If it was that he had forgotten about deliverance, he wouldn't tell them that. They won't still be seeking for rescue. But his heart was seeking for that as well. That's what sometimes we miss it when we use the word that godliness with contentment is great gain. Contentment doesn't mean that you're not seeking for progress. Contentment just means that while you're seeking for progress, you are not agitated. You are at rest. You are trusting the process. You are at peace where you are today while having a vision for tomorrow. Anxiety is not ruling over you. You are walking in faith, not out of fear. Right? So because you are contented doesn't mean that you don't have a desire, you don't have a goal, you don't have a target, you don't have a vision. Right? That is not what contentment means. Contentment just means how you are going along the journey of life. That anxiety is not the ruling over you, it's not the ruling spirit over you, but a spirit of faith. You are at rest where you are while you're on the journey to where you want to be. Am I clear? Kevin, is all of that clear?
Yes, sir, very clear, sir.
Any question before I go on?
No, sir.
All right. So I'm going to go on to the next slide here. All right. So on page 37 of the book, in that chapter, Bethenny wrote, when you act in a way that is intentional and purposeful, you then have to trust the process without being wedded to a specific outcome, right? What it's saying is that after you have done your own part, you have to trust God for the result. right? You have to also be willing to accept something that might not be necessarily exactly what you desire, which God might think is the right thing for you, which obviously would be better than whatever it is that you had set out with, because you're limited, right, as to what you know. God might have a bigger plan for you than the one that you set out for. Also, God might give you a stopgap result while he's preparing you for something that the exact thing you want, or something bigger, right? On the way from A to B, there might be several stopgaps on the way. So you don't get agitated because of a stopgap. It might just be preparing you for the next stopgap until you get to where you're going, right? It's still the same place, talking about having the spirit of contentment and trusting God for every part of the journey. Going back to Joseph. Joseph, first of all, went to Potiphar. In Potiphar's house, he could have felt, that's his last bus stop. But it wasn't. More so, he had to go to a bus stop that was even lower than that. He could have given up and said, oh, look at me, from Potiphar's house where I was, it's as if I was getting close. I've now seen home. I'm now being sent to the prison. He could have then have been discouraged. He could have then have been having an attitude and not be helping other people. You know, if he had an attitude, he would not have been made head of the prisoners. If he had an attitude, he would not have interpreted the dream of the two high-ranking officers of Pharaoh. But he did not. He trusted God for every step of the way. Same thing for us also, if we're going to get to the throne. The throne is different for every one of us. Whatever the throne is in our life, we have to trust God for where we are, where next we're going to be, where next we're going to be after that, until we get to where we want. And even when we get to where we want, we still trust God, because until we die, there's always a place called there, right? You never get settled in one place, because then you start being you start being complacent. While you're here, you can never afford to be complacent, because complacency is the opening of a door for the enemy, right? There must always be something you're shooting for, something you're doing, because until it's time for us to leave here, we need to always be shooting for a goal, something to do, right? A battle to win, right? When you're complacent, you open the door for the enemy. You open the door for destruction, right? Kevin, are we in line on that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Rumi says it this way. He says, when you walk on the way, then the way appears, right? When you start your journey, then you begin to see the next step. After that step, you see the next step. You see the next step. You see the next step. Like you see with our farm, right? When we started, well, whatever we're doing right now was not originally what we planned for, what we had in mind, what we envisaged, right? We had all of those plans. We're going to do snail. We're going to do goat. We're going to do this, that. But we've learned a lot, and we keep on learning every step of the way, and we keep on changing, adjusting, hauling a bit to get the best out of all that we're doing. Right? We started doing Gary with somebody, the person moved, we did with somebody, we had issues, we built our own place, we had issues, we're moving to do it somewhere else. We're learning and we're going along the way. Again, that's the reason why I don't like, anyone being problem minded, right? Because you're going to have problems. That's what life is. Life is full of problems, but you must never be limited by the problems. Problems are not to limit us. Problems are to exalt us, to lift us up by the solution we bring to bear, right? If you get an obstacle and you allow it to defeat you, that's the end. You're not going to go to the next step or the next place of exaltation. But when something comes and stands against you and you find a solution to it, it lifts you up, become a better person, right? You're able to then go to address bigger obstacles, because every obstacle you overcome lifts you up, exalts you. You become a better person. It gives you more grounds that you can overcome, right? That's the difference between a poor man and a rich man, right? A poor man is defeated by obstacle. The rich man is always looking for solution. and opportunities. Do you understand what all I said?
And yes, sir.
And you see the applicability in all we do. Any question for me as it relates to all we do?
No, it's relatable. It's understand.
Yeah. The Chinese proverb talks about a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, which for us is what we're doing right now, right? Well, we're building a big poultry, but there's only so much money we have, so we have to determine what is how to make the best use of what we have, without getting to a place where we can go further, because it only makes sense for us to start producing early so that the money we'll produce can help us go further. We're not God, we're gods, small gods, but we're not big God. With big God, everything is unlimited, but we're small gods here, which by design God has made to be limited, right? Because our limitedness is wisdom. Because if everything just goes for us, then we will not be thinking deep on how to solve problem. But God intentionally creates limitation so that we can be creative about how to do things. And by being creative, we'll learn wisdom, we'll become better, we'll become good stewards of that which he has given to us. Because God could just prompt everything to you, whatever you want, but you will not grow. If you have a child and you're always giving that child whatever the child asks for, that child will not grow. Those are the people that commit suicide because they have not grown resilience, right? Lack causes us to grow resilience. God can just give us everything we want, but then we'll be people that have no mental strength, no mental resilience, right? So lack is the intent of lack is to help us grow, help us make the best of little. That's what Paul will say. He says, I've survived in lack or in plenty. I'm able to hold myself when there's not too much. I'm able to hold myself where there's plenty because none of these control me. I've learned how to be in these two circumstances, right? So, and that's what it builds us, right? To be creative, to make the best of the resource we have. When God finds us faithful in the little that we have, then it will give us more. It gives us more because of our faithfulness in where we are and what we have today, right? Robert Frost, and I should have deleted it from here because I talk more about this in the next slide. So I forgot to delete this from here. I'm going to go ahead and delete it here because it's repeated in the next slide. So there is this poem that Robert Frost put together. It's called The Road Not Taken, right? And it's just pretty much talking about walking in the forest or making a decision, taking a decision on the path to follow as far as your life goes, and what that effect is, So two parts of it I will take up and discuss is found in the third and the fourth stanza in the end of it. I mean, you can always read that later. But in the third stanza, he talks about yet knowing how way leads to way. Like we said, one way leads to the other. When you start the journey, then you, like Rumi said, then you will know the way, right? When you start the journey, then you begin to find out what the different options are. Like when we started doing Gary, that's when we found out all the different obstacles, right? If we did not build the Gary place at our farm, we won't find out that we have issues getting workers. We'll have just thought there were people who can easily hire. But we found out that that's difficult, that they have a different priority from our priority, right? If we don't do in the first place we did, we won't find out that people steal, right? So we're learning, we're getting better, we're getting experience. And that's the way life is. When you start the journey, then you find out what's there, you learn from that, you continue, you find out what is it, you learn from that, you continue. All right, that's what Robert Frost means when he says, yet knowing how way leads to way. So I doubt that I should ever come back, right? When you start the journey, You know, there's someone that says that, I don't remember the person that says it, but he says that when you leave and come back to the same place, you don't come back to the exact same place, right? Because you will have changed, or the place will have changed. Someone has put it this way. It says, you don't step to the same river 2 times. Because the first time you step into that river, right, between the time you step into the river and the next time you step into the river, what has happened? The river has flowed. It's a different water they are stepping the second time. Things have happened, changes have taken place, right? And that's the way life is, right? As we go, we're learning, we're getting better, you know, new ways are opening up to us, you know, if we learn and we're not defeated by the challenge of life, right? The fourth part, which is in the last part again of the fourth stanza of that poem, talks about when you make a decision. It says there are 2 roads that diverge into the wood, right? It took the one that is less traveled, and that has made all the difference, you know. Just same for us here. We're doing farming here. We're doing things we've not done before. Some of them we've probably done before at different stages, different levels, different scales, you know, but we're doing a lot of things we've not done before, and we're having to learn. We're having to learn that we need transport. We're having to learn the difference between different markets, you know. We're having to learn how the market changes, you know. And those are issues that we don't plan, and we're not in any way hoping that would defeat us. We're looking for solutions for them, right? And as we get those solutions, you know, we'll be able to harness the opportunity thereby, you know. So, any question for me before I go to the next slide?
Can continue, sir.
Oh, great. So, on page 38 of the chapter, you know, she has this. It says the point is, when you are on the path, all right, when you use the word path, the journey of life, your pilgrimage, keep going and see where it takes you. So when you're living life, keep going and see where it takes you. And that's important, you know. I'll tell you, I say it severally when I discuss things like this. You know, I grew up a person that was anxious because I always wanted to get things right. And when I see that something is not working for me, I quickly jump out of it looking for the right part. I simply grew up as someone who was always running away from pain, right? When I see that is going to cause pain, I simply run away from it. That did not help me. That did not help me because I did not stay to go through the pain of life. It was like I was always running away from pain. Therefore, I did not build the mental resilience. I was also built by those experiences of life. I mean, pain might be scary, pain might be painful, but pain is a necessary part of life. If you run away from pain, you will always run. When you stand and go through that pain, you will not see it again, because then you have grown bigger than it. The way of life is a way of going through, not running away. You face your demons. You face the giants that is standing against you and overcome it. Because the demon you run away, you always run away from. The giant you run away from, you always run away from. But when you face it and go through that encounter, you don't have to face it again because you have become better and bigger than it. Do you understand what I said, Kevin?
Yes, I understand, sir.
You agree?
Yes. The best way to confront the situation is not to run away from it, is to face it.
Is to face it. Yeah. So that tells you, you're seeing a bit of why I do what I do, why I make the decisions I make, right? Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to face life. You have to face life. Take the pain. If there is pain there, you know, if it kills you, you're only going to die once. You know, if it doesn't kill you, you become better, you become stronger, you know, and you become a better person, right? You can change course if necessary. Obviously, as we learn, we do things better. We're not, all of this is not talking about we should be stupid, go and stand in the middle of the highway, but we're talking about making the best of what you know, as you go along the way, right? So it's going through life and learning along the way, doing things better, just like we talked about Thomas Edison, where we talk about he did experiment 1,000 times before he got the bulb. He wasn't doing the same thing each time. He was always tweaking, correcting. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, why didn't it work? What can we do better? It was tweaking it. It wasn't the same thing he was doing 1,000 times. He was learning from every failure. He was learning from every failure. Life is not about doing the same thing all the time. You must learn from every failure. If you don't learn from the failure, you're stupid. You fail, but you learn from it. You don't do the same thing over and over again. From every failure, you learn and do better. That's the only way your journey will make sense, right? The other part in page 38, it says, no one is bigger than the game. None of us is bigger than the game. None of us is bigger than life. None of us is bigger than nature. None of us is bigger than the universe, right? None of us is bigger than God. When we use the word nature, universe, we're really talking about God, right? Because God is the one that set everything in place, right? But it's a word that is probably easier for some people rather than talking about God all the time, right? But God set nature into place. God set the universe into place. They are set up with boundaries, conditions, right? They are laws. We call them natural laws, right? And you're not natural laws are like judgment or law itself. It's blind. It's neutral. It has specific things that you must do for it to work for you. If you don't do those things, it won't work for you, right? You're not bigger than it. You have to submit to the law of nature. You have to submit to the way the universe is set up. You have to submit to the way nature is set up. You have to submit to the way God has set things to be. God is not going to submit to you. Nature won't submit to you. The universe won't submit to you. The natural laws won't submit to you. You submit to them, right? So when we say that you are not bigger than the game, that's what we mean, right? You have to let life play out. You have to trust the way God has set things to be, right? And when you set it and set your way along with them, they will work for you. They will help you. They will lift you up. They will fight your battles. When you are coming to agreement with the way God has set things to be, the way God has set things to be will fight your battles for you. All right. I'm going to move on here to the next slide here. And so going on to page 39 of the book, Bethenny wrote, I don't make decisions because of money, or only based on money. She's just talking about the way she makes decisions. She was talking about she had made some money and the different things she could have done with the money, and that's important, that we align our lives right, and that's one of the reasons, like for us in our fam, we had to decide the reason why we're doing all we're doing. That's why we set those goals for ourselves. If we allow ourselves to just be after the money, we will be chasing after shadows. So we'll be worshiping the money, as it were. We'll be chasing after things that don't matter to God, things that don't elevate us, right? The way to live life is submit yourself to something bigger than you, not something smaller than you. Money is smaller than us. Money is a servant. We cannot allow that which is a servant to control us. That's the only reason we have to key into something that is bigger than us. Something bigger than us is working to change lives, working to make people's life better, working to make people smile, working to make people happy. That is the heart of God. That's the reason why we have an NGO. That's the reason why we set those targets for ourselves, because we want to be submitted to something bigger than us, not something smaller than us. We don't work for money. We work for the things money can do, not for money, but the things money can do, not for money, but the things money can do, right? Are we together on that?
Yes, sir.
Any question for me on that?
I totally agree with the what we don't work for money, work for what money can do.
Great. That's what Bethenny was pretty much highlighting, talking about that we make decisions around idea, right? Your a purpose, an intent, not around because I have money, so I'm intoxicated by money. That's the easy way to help, right? Page 41, she says, I don't deny any of my feelings, good or bad, because I know that I will come out on the other side of them. Tomorrow is another day, And what she's talking about there is that as you go through the process of life, there are good days, there are bad days. There are things that make you sad, things that make you happy. But you have to be careful that you're not controlled by that, That's probably more women than men, but men also are tempted to be on that because we all have the two types of energy. We all have the masculine and the feminine energy, but in different proportions, right? So, like, we're going through some things right now in our lives, in my family, and my wife will tell me, I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood. Nature couldn't be bothered about your mood. It couldn't be bothered whether you feel like it or not. Say, for instance, you're supposed to pay your rent and you say, I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood. Landlord couldn't be bothered about your mood or the way you feel like. We're not here to be lived or dictated to by the way we feel like. You do what you have to do when you have to do it. Right? You don't do exercise because I feel like or I don't feel like. When you set a goal for yourself, you do it. Right? You do it. It's not, we don't live by feeling. It's, I don't feel like going to work today, so you stay back home. Life doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. You have to be above your feelings. That's why you set goals for yourself. That's why you plan your day, you plan your week, you plan your month. Because when you don't, then you live by feelings. That's why you have a budget for your money. Because if you don't, you will live by feeling. And living by feeling is the easy way to hell. All right. Are we together on that?
Yes, sir.
Then we'll move on to page 44. So there's this note from the book on page 44. She says, but you know what? I trusted. I kept walking and connecting. I kept going. The experience taught me that it's not enough to get yourself in the door. Getting in the door is great, but it's not enough. It's what you do next that matters. And what she's saying here is that, because you've set yourself out or you got an opportunity, doesn't mean everything will go the way you planned it to go. For you, instance, I guess when you came to work for us on the farm, you probably had some dreams, imagination, and all of that stuff. And I can bet everything is not going exactly as you had envisioned it at first. Right.
Yes,
Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, sir.
Yeah. It's that life was not built to go exactly the way you envisioned it. Life doesn't work that way. But you have to make the best of what you have. Right? When you have an opportunity, it will not necessarily dance or your daydream, but you have to live, make the best of what you see. Everybody goes into marriage and they're all thinking, oh, we're going to have sex every day. Oh, every weekend, we're just going to stay at home, have sex. Oh, my wife will always love me. She'll be kissing me. As I'm eating her food, she will kneel beside me, eat with me. She'll always be happy with me. Everybody has all of those dreams and everything until after you're married, then reality hits you. Because you were just daydreaming. But do you then divorce because you now see something different? No, you make the best of what you see. You make the best of what you have, right? Those fantasy and reality are not the same. You take what you have and make the best of it. That is what life is. That is what living is all about, right? That's what we say again. You go through it. You don't run away from it. You go through it, right? Life comes with pain. That is an essential part of life. Because if there were no pain, you'll be dead. You will not be able to evolve. Evolution is because there is pain. You grow with pain. You don't grow with ease, right? So yeah, you things in Nestle fall, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Because if you fell into the way you wanted it, then you're probably still dreaming. You need to pinch yourself. You're in fantasy land. Life does not work that way. Tell you the truth also, if you remember when I was out in the Houston and I bought the land and everything, remember all the things I wanted to do. I wanted to build a chapel. I wanted to build a library. I wanted to do this and that. You still remember all of those things I used to talk about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, the first time I came out there and I saw the thing, that was reality. So I had to take all my fantasy dream and put it against reality, then come to put my foot on the ground. That is reality. I have to then make the best of what I have. One is what I was dreaming when I had not seen the whole place. Now I've seen the whole place. It's good to have all of those dreams, but I have to then wake up and bring it down, scale it down to the reality on the ground. Maybe someday we'll still have the chapel. Maybe someday we'll still get the library. Maybe someday we'll still do all of that, but it takes time to do that. It costs money, right? And we only have so much money. So we have to then prioritize what is the most important thing to do now. And God blesses us, maybe those days will still come, but they cannot come right now because they are not priority. Right?
True, sir.
So you see, you're not alone. I also had dreams that have not come to pass. I'm living with the reality and we're making the best of what we have. Right. So when you go to page 45, it says, the real lesson for me is that sometimes we don't understand the assignment. Right? Sometimes we don't understand the assignment. Sometimes we don't understand why we're there. I mean, the first day I came there, I could have just said, we're done. This place is too far inside. Because it truly is too far inside. Right? And just this doesn't make sense. But because I know I probably don't fully understand the assignment and I'm trusting in the process. The reason why I did not say that is because I just trust the hand of God, that I might not fully understand why we're here, but there's a reason why we're here. And I am not going to run away from it. Right? I'm going to find out why we're here. Right? So we'll do what we can do. We'll not do things foolishly, no doubt. But we're here. So we're trusting in the process, just to know why we're continuing. We didn't stop, because I could have stopped the very first day I came out there. Right? But I did not, because I was trusting in the mighty hand of God. I'm trusting that we did not start this by mistake, that there's a reason. I don't fully understand the reason. One of the things I understand about it, like you've heard me talk, is probably to bless the people, make a difference in their lives, right? So that is one of the picture and the reason why I'm continuing, right? I think that that's what God will have us do, right? And I'm open to do that, right? And there's probably a whole lot more that He wants us to do. So I'm learning, I'm growing through all of that, right? So that's what Bethenny was talking about. Says that the real lesson for me is that sometimes we don't understand the assignment. The real lesson of being on the show was to learn about being entertaining on TV and to establish relationships I could build on for my next attempt at TV. She was talking about what she learned, from being at TV at first time. She thought it was for one thing, but it was something else that she was gaining experience for. And all of those experiences, even though she didn't understand it at that point in time, later on she understood it, because those were the things that broke through for her, right? Same thing for us, here. We're learning things, we're meeting people, we're connecting with people. We might not fully know why we're doing all of that today, but it's all working something. Just like the Bible says that affliction, talks about that affliction, right, is nothing, compared to the glory is working out for us. So it's a glory in all of this. We might not see it right now, but it's something big that's been worked out for us, to all hand in praise, Yeah. Anything to add to that? Kevin, anything to add to that?
Yes, I just feel, I agree with what you have said. I feel, yes, I just believe that the end of the as we go, it's worth it, like you said, not backing out. And as we go, we understand fully, and the mind of God becomes explicit to us.
Yeah. So running down to page 49, of the book, which is still in chapter 3, Bethenny says that trusting the process means you keep taking steps every day towards a goal and believe it's going to work. It's going to happen. Right, which is what like we're doing. I never envisaged it's going to cost us this much to sandfield those places. It's cost a lot of money. A lot of money, a lot of sand. Sometimes I'm looking, is it worth it? But still, I just pull straight and trust God, that I am committed to it. It's not necessarily easy when I see the amount of money we're spending, but I believe in what we're doing. I believe where we're going, and I trust God that we'll get there and it will all work. So when you trust in the process, it's taking that step. You have a goal and you're moving towards it. You're taking every step towards it. You're doing what you can do. You're learning from every experience, and you're just trusting that God will tie all the knots together. Like we started again, the default of creation, the default of nature, the default of the universe is that we succeed, right? The way we tie into that default is faith. Faith. If we do anything out of fear, we negate that default. If we do anything out of anxiety, we negate that default. If we do anything out of worry, we negate that default. The way to walk in line and cause that default to work for us is the faith, the rest, the trust by which we walk. Right? So it's having a plan and just doing what you can do, doing the best you can do. Not being in a hurry, not being scared, not doing things out of fear, doing your best, moving towards it. That is how the universe supports you. Right. Anything to add to that?
No, sir. I agree with you, sir.
All right. So the next thing on that same page says things on the side of that goal may happen that are even better. So don't discount something because it doesn't fit a rigid idea of how things are supposed to turn out. Right. So you need to be flexible. You have this plan. It's like Joseph being called to the throne in Egypt. He could have said, the throne I'm thinking about is the throne of Israel, or not Egypt. How can I be someone a throne in Egypt? God didn't tell me Egypt. It's Israel. You see, we understand the assignment as we go, as things are revealed to us. But when you are dogmatic, you might miss the assignment. You might miss what God is saying. It's like someone wants to marry and all the thing in mind is, I want to marry someone that is fair. Whereas you fall in love with someone that is dark. And because of you must be someone that is fair. You are dragging your feet in committing, even though you are in love. Right? We need to be careful, from being rigid and being flexible in the hand of God. It's like maybe your vision is to go abroad to be a pastor, and now God is giving you opportunity to be a pastor in Nigeria. Say, no, God, Nigeria, the vision God has for me is abroad. Right? you might miss the opportunity, because the way abroad might be the Nigeria. It might be what you do now that open the door for the final thing that God is taking you. God might be preparing you through being a pastor in Nigeria to exalt you to a place abroad. But if all you are doing is it must be abroad, it must be abroad, you probably will never get abroad, because the way to abroad might be Nigeria. Right. So we need to be flexible in the hand of God and listening to him, and not be rigid, be dogmatic. All right. Finally, in the same page 14, so saying starting a business, being an entrepreneur is not a clear path. And we see that in what we're doing. We see a lot of things we're doing that we probably didn't plan in the picture. We're doing the pineapple garden, we have the cocoa, we have the plantain, we have the pawpaw that I said we should do. A whole lot more things coming, do, because we're learning, we're growing, we're learning, We got the laborers here from Kutono, might not be the best. We need to plan for the next season. We'll learn. We'll see a better way of doing it, but we'll learn. We're growing. That's how to make it in business. Those who are rigid, they don't turn out well. They're not the great companies. The great companies were those who were flexible, right? They were learning as they go along the way. Amazon was started as a bookshop, online. But today it's more than a bookshop online. Nobody knows it was a bookshop online, but that's what it started. It started as a bookshop online by who? An IT tech. Jeff Bezos is an IT tech, right? He's not into selling. He's not a book person, but that's what he started, a bookstore online. That bookstore online is what has grown to be what it is today. So much so he also has business that are IT business that's competing with the likes of Microsoft. But he started just as a bookstore online. But he did not stay there. He was growing into what it is today, right? That is what it means to be in business. So you understand, as we continue to change, evolve, and add things on, because when you need to make money, when you're not, you need to say, we only do this, we only do that. But we'll grow. If it works, it doesn't, we cancel it. We look for new ideas. Where you need to make money, where you need to be successful, right? So the last slide here says, keep doing all the things necessary to get where you are going, and believe they will lead you in the right direction, which is just summary of all I just said. We'll keep on trying. We'll learn from our trying. We'll get better. We stop doing the things that are not working. We'll do more of the things that are working. That's the way forward. That's the way to greatness, That's the way to trust in the process. As we go along, we'll learn, get better, we make corrections. We'll keep on pushing along. All right. Any additional question for me before we shut it down? That's the last slide. That's the end of the chapter 3.
I don't think I have something to say now.
All right. Great. But we're in agreement all the way.
Yes.
All right. Great. I am supposed to be a moderator at the next meeting, so let me go and prepare for that one. You're coming to the next meeting?
I'm not sure, so I have a meeting starting already now. I need to join.
All right, no problem. Let me let you go. All right, take care. Talk to you later.
All right, sir.
All right, God bless. Yeah, bye.